So, a lot going on here. Let us get right to it. House cleaning, please give the other channel a chance, and please consider supporting the channel. So, the lay of the land is a little complex. So, this video may seem a little uninformative because I can't give any big scoop. I can only give what I perceive and from reliable sources who will remain anonymous what did and did not happen. So, the fantasy version being put out is Rabbit, Miriam, and Aaron, in their fight for truth, are bringing to prominence a complaint by Jane Doe against Brian Kent, and that they've succeeded in getting Kent off the board of ChildUSA, a charity allegedly devoted to helping children. The real agenda is to attack Mike Rinder and get him off the board. So that is the fantasy. What is the reality, which is a lot more complex? Now, I assume the obvious that this document they got was given over legitimately. And according to Aaron, these issues have been prominent and been circulating in the community for some time. And they're saying Mike Rinder, quote, knew Kent and enabled his predatory behavior. What's the actual reality? Well, apparently, again, this is from reliable sources, which could be wrong. The victim in this case, the Jane Doe, was fine with the information being shared as long as it was being used very carefully. So from what I understand, she did not, I repeat, she did not authorize Miriam, Rabbit, or Aaron to use the complaint in the way they did to get these scoops, to get all this media attention, and to basically intervene into the investigation. Brian Kent has a complaint. It's being investigated in Pennsylvania. So I understand from their perspective, let's be good faith. What they think they were doing was, quote, good journalism. None of these people are journalists. None of these people are legal experts at all. So, but from their perspective, them being amateur detectives, quote, amateur journalists, did something good forcing Kent off the board. The problem is they've intervened into the legal process. And this is not playtime. This is not a joke. The reason that Harvey Weinstein was able to overturn the conviction is his lawyers could prove that the procedures were not being followed fairly. Now, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the case with Kent. Again, I think there's still recourse. Even if that complaint fails, there would still be some wiggle room to continue other lawsuits. But again, I'm not a legal expert. I'd have to look more into it. But at this point, the Pennsylvania case is being looked at. And yes, it's taken a while. So it could be they thought nothing was happening. But again, according to the Jane Doe, no, it was still ongoing. Again, you can talk about the case, but just keep it very broad and be careful with the information. They were not. They were using the information very carelessly. Now, let me get to my own role here. Now, from what I understand, according to them, by the way, this Jane Doe is not a Jane Doe. She is a public figure. And I think I know who this is. So yes, technically she's a public figure. So I understand what they're trying to say. However, you could perhaps talk about her publicly with her public name, but you have to be careful. So from what I understand, they weren't being careful. Now, I don't like lying to my subscribers or hiding things in the dark unless it's absolutely necessary. So I'm a little torn. In one of the prior videos, I did promise to give the public identity within a certain time period. But now I'm being told this is all very problematic and the Jane Doe is trying to work through what to do next. So I'm going to have to rescind that promise, which I don't want to do. Now, this information is out there. So eventually, this is all going to get out. The cat is out of the bag. However, I'm not here to exploit anyone, frankly. So it is technically a legitimate journalism scoop, and I do have training as a journalist. However, if the Jane Doe needs time to figure things out, okay, I think that's reasonable. I don't know how long we should keep her identity secret. Again, she's not technically, quote, a Jane Doe. She has been a prominent critic of the church. So again, legally, ethically, there's nothing to stop me from using the identity, but I don't think that's proper. And again, I could be wrong. I am working on an assumption and hypothesis. So at this point, it seems that Jane Doe is stating she did not authorize what Rabbit, Miriam, and Aaron have done. and she's very, very angry. So we're going to have to just take some time and think through, what do we do next? So I'm just going to do more research, but at this point in time, the Jane Doe apparently just needs time to figure out what to do next with her legal case. I think that's reasonable. But again, probably what's going to happen is a more scoop-centric, scoop-focused journalist is going to give out the identity. But I want to be fair, so I'm not going to confirm or disconfirm any news that's going to come out for a while. I want to be careful and just do more research. So it's kind of a weird story, non-story. But again, I just want to be sensitive to both sides. But for the record, apparently Aaron, as usual, just used the victim's story without authorization and exploited it for his own purposes.